Hi guys, and welcome to a new edition of Art Life with John and Bogdan.
Hi everybody, hope you're having a great week. We've got a lot to talk about this time, but if you like what you hear today or see today, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give us a like and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we have new content. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm John, and this is Bogdan. Join us on our journey as we figure out how to earn a living as artists, introduce you to those we meet, and share what we learn along the way.
So who said our life is boring?
Yeah, we've got some news. We always have some news. One thing that we tend to do is mix things up. We don't stay still for long.
Mix. In a good manner.
In a good manner, absolutely. But, we talked last time about doing some remodeling of the house, and we're still looking at doing that. But you have to book people so far out.
But things have shifted a little.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that, we always look for ways to improve our business life
Mm-hmm.
and our life as well. And,
What's the difference? Yeah.
Since I am a Romanian, Romania always is going to be my home as well.
Sure.
And here we are thinking, what if we buy a piece of land in Romania and start, creating there as well, and maybe on the summertime we have artist residency going on, and things are easier for me being from there. I can speak the language. I can navigate the system easily than anywhere else, right?
So that's an option, and it's an option that makes a little bit of sense for our business as well, and we need to talk about that. One thing is that we make money off our art. We sell art and we make money. We don't make enough money to live off just that.
Mm-hmm.
But in a place like Romania, we could live off of just that. The other side to that double-edged sword is that in Romania, we may not have the same market that we have here.
And probably you won't. Yeah.
So we may not make as much. So we might be looking at, can we do some sort of hybrid where we spend part of our lives here in Houston or in the States and part of our lives in Romania, setting down some permanent roots for Bogdan as he gets older, for his mom as she gets older and might need some care. It makes sense.
Another good part of that, the majority of my family is there, so I have a family support as well.
Right.
Which is it's very important when you have a family that is next to you, it's supporting you, is watching for you. It's important.
And his family lives about 30 minutes from the capital, which is, if you're going to do anything in Romania, you're pretty much going to have to go through Bucharest. There are a couple of other centers these days, but that would give us ready access. We could live there kind of in a small village and still be close enough to drive into Bucharest whenever we need. Give us a chance to build, that dream spot. We were looking for a place with that we could live and work and expand. We could certainly afford to do that in Romania.
We already started look some properties for sale in this village where my family lives. So if we won't be there for a season, somebody can watch the property.
They can watch the place for us. That's a good point. And again, if your mom's interested, she can live there.
If she's not interested, she wants it.
Yeah, we can
she
set
wants
her
to
up
run
with
the
her
place.
own place. Yeah, that's what she could be our manager. Exactly,
Yeah.
We need it. And then we thought, well, with the distances we travel in Texas, it would not be hard for us to throw our artwork into a van and drive to Prague or drive to Berlin or to Warsaw.
Yeah, it's from Houston to New Mexico, going to Austria maybe.
To Austria, yeah. I think it's
maybe
closer
less
than that. Yeah. to go to Vienna. So I mean that's an option we would also have. That our market doesn't have to be limited to Romania. In fact, I can't imagine we'd sell much to Romanians. But right now,
you never know. Yeah.
we drive an hour in now. We half the commute that we have now, and we don't sell where we live. Yeah, so it would be exciting. We'd have to find. We wouldn't move right away. We couldn't move right away.
No.
We want to keep what we've got. One of the fears we have, we bought property years ago when we were still in Romania, we would have spent pennies. Actually, no, I think it was high and then it got low. We know that with whatever happens in the Ukraine, there's going to be a great attention given to Romania now. They have lots of natural resources and oil. They have lots of room for agriculture.
Very talented people.
Very talented people. And the property values, particularly around Bucharest, we think are going to go up.
Oh,
so
they will go.
it's probably not a bad investment. Gasoline is, what, $8-9 a quart, a liter?
Over there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of driving doesn't make sense. But they have propane tanks, they have diesel.
But again, the distances are small. If you live in the capital, in the city, then you can. It depends where you live. If you're far away from, let's say, a metro station, you can have a car and just leave it to a parking lot somewhere and take
a bus or a train.
Yeah.
Just drive to the metro. So you're not driving all the way.
And in the summertime, my God, you can use a scooter to get around.
Yeah, and if you take the metro in, then you don't have to deal with parking in the city. If you need to, unless you're hauling things, it's probably better off not to have a vehicle in the city.
But I'm excited, and I'm excited and not worried, but I don't know, maybe afraid in many ways, because I left Romania in a time that things were not that great.
Yeah.
It's certainly way better than I left it. And I haven't been there for so long to leave that I'm a little, afraid of how things will evolve. Because it's Romania, you have to, it's a different culture, it's going to be a culture shock when you get there. And so I have mixed emotions.
And I think anybody who's traveled and lived abroad knows that going home is difficult. So one of the problems with moving to Romania is that they don't acknowledge gay marriage, and so I can't get a visa there based on our marriage. Mm-hmm. I can in Europe generally, and we probably should pursue that, but not in Romania. So one of the ways that I can go there is to open a business. And so we're looking at that right now. We talked to an accountant. We've got a Zoom meeting with a lawyer next week before we go. And apparently it's super, super easy for an American to set up a company. I mean, it takes literally 2-3 days.
No, I think it's for everybody easy to open a company.
Well, I think it depends on apparently where you're from, but for most places. And that would give me enough of a visa that I wouldn't have to come and go as a tourist, and I could actually earn money there. Mm-hmm. So that is a huge benefit for me. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. It costs very little to set up a company, and I don't even have to be there, but I will be there.
Luminica, it's one of my relatives. She is watching us
she watches
on
the vlog,
our art chat,
chat
every week. And she has a property in this village where we want to look for a property. And I sent her a message the other day. I said, listen, are you going to be in the village? And she said, oh, I'm already here. And then she sent me a bunch of pictures. I'm getting, homesick. Yeah. And she showed me the garden and the food she was cooking and the dogs around her. As I remember, a lot of colors, a lot of laid back atmosphere.
And you know, it was really odd. I lived in Romania for a good 5 years, and I was never there in the summer because we would have breaks from the school, and we would always travel back to the States and around during the summers. So I've never seen Romania in the summer.
You know,
and I've never seen it at Christmas.
And then when we got together, my priority was to go anywhere else but Romania.
Right. And I had to get out because I needed a break from school.
But anyway, it's beautiful, and here, this is where we are today, and definitely we will film Romania in and out and share it with you.
Absolutely, we'll take you with.
So we had another fabulous exhibition at Silver Sea Studios, and we want to share with you next Alton Duleny's speech from the opening ceremony.
Yeah, Alton agreed to be our guest curator for the show. It's up for a good month or so over at Silver Street. So we were very, very honored to have Alton, and so we're going to show you a little bit of his.
Not only honored, but you sold 2 of your pieces out of the show away.
Yeah, I did.
But anyway, let's watch this video.
Let's see Alton's presentation.
I am the curator of public art for the Houston Airport. I oversee one of the largest collections of public art in the state of Texas, so it's a lot of fun to work there. I am also a consultant, so I work with collectors and individual artists on building collections and actually building careers. And then I am an artist myself. As I like to say, I'm an artist and I make art. And if you've seen my artwork, you know exactly what I'm saying. So I just wanted to say that I had a very fortuitous start in life and in my art career. I grew up in a little town called Splendora, Texas, and as a teenager, I was enamored with the artist James Searles, who was based there in Splendora. So, excuse me, I approached him from a very young age. I said, incorrigibly, I want to work with you. I want to, be here at your studio. He brought me in as a studio assistant, aka volunteer. So I spent a lot of time over there, really seeing how a proper art studio function and what a successful art career looks like. James really treated art as a 9-to-5 job. He showed up every Monday through Friday and worked in the studio producing art, and he's still doing it today at 80 years old. He's still making work. I also very early on, in Splendora High School, there were no art classes. So I started taking classes at the local community college. And my very first art teacher is Miss Deborah Ellington, who is here tonight. She really encouraged me. She helped me get scholarships. She helped me get into the University of Texas. So I moved to Austin and got my undergraduate degree. So I want to thank her. And she called me a few months ago and said, do you want to curate a show at the Silver Street? And anything that she would ask of me, I would say yes. Thank you, Deborah, for that. And also I wanted to thank Adam, who introduced me. Adam Land is just super organized and helped pull all this together. The other person I wanted to thank is actually all of you as the artists that participate in this show, because without artists, there is no art, and without art, there are no exhibitions. So it's really important that all of you who participated, it's very appreciated, and I hope you're happy with the selections that we made. I wanted to choose a name that was kind of open and suggestive, but definitive at the same time. So Adam and I bounced a few things back and forth and came up with the word arrival. We thought it kind of said a lot of things and kind of encapsulated a lot of things, but kind of also gave you kind of a direction to go. What does arrival mean? I work at the airport and we have entire buildings dedicated to arrival, right? baggage claims and so forth. But arrival is this kind of ephemeral, fleeting moment. You're never quite there. You actually arrive at the airport to depart, right? And then you arrive at the ticket counter just to get your ticket to go to security. And you arrive at security, of course, to take your belt off and your shoes off and pour your water out and your laptop and everything else. But eventually you arrive at the gate and you're still not there. Now you get on the airplane and you arrive at 30,000 feet and now you sit there for 2 or 3 hours and have a few drinks or whatever you do on the airplane until you arrive at your destination. And that's when, at the airport, those arrival signs come in very handy. You look for your baggage, you look for the curb, but then you arrive to your car, your Uber, then you arrive to the hotel, and now when have you actually arrived? You know, it's the eternal now, and that's where we are. But I think also for artists, there's this kind of eureka moment of arriving. When you're working on a work of art and you get to the point where, oh, that's it. Then you have that work of art and you have arrived, you know? Or, you know, if you're growing up and becoming an artist and you're pursuing a career in the art and you enter a piece of art in a show like this and you get here and you love how it looks on the wall and all your friends are here and you say to yourself, yes, I've arrived. So I really wanted a title for the show that was inspiring, and so I hope some of you or all of you felt that it was inspiring. It was about 100 works of art by about 40 artists. Thank you.
guys, we're here with Jenny Guarino, who is one of the artists here at Silver Street Studios. And we've known Jenny for several years while we've been here. And one of the things we first noticed is that Jenny travels constantly. So she is a very accomplished artist. She does. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your art?
Well, firstly, I sound a little different. I'm Australian. So living in the US, so I'm a dual citizen, American and Australian. And my art is, over the last few years, has sort of evolved to being fluid art, and it's really about my travels. It's sort of memories of travels that I've made. So when I travel, I take my iPad with me, and I like to draw on my iPad out of airplane windows or wherever I am, and I sort of capture the colours and the feeling of the moment. Often it's really quick, it's not detailed, and then I bring them back to the studio here and create some artwork from those ideas.
You take those ideas and create some sort of fluid depiction of that. Amazing.
Yeah.
And you do work all sizes. Is it all resin work?
Mostly
resin?
Mostly acrylic on panels or canvas, and then what I do with resin is really just put a layer on top. I don't really mess around. Other people add products into the resin, but I really just put that on just to finish it off. My work's pretty bright and has a lot of colour, so some of the works, actually my Colour Play series, which is on canvas, is very bright and looks really good without the resin. So for that series, I don't usually put resin on. So it's a judgment call for each piece of artwork.
Sure. Well, great. You know, you say you have dual citizenships, U.S. and Australia, but there's also Italy in there.
There is also Italy. My husband actually is Australian, but first generation Australian. His parents are Italian and migrated after the Second World War. So over the last, I guess 10 years, no, actually it's 10 to 20 years, we've started going back to Italy to visit his family town, which is a little town east of Naples, in the hills in Campania, and there's an old family home there as well that we go and stay at. And I've been trying to learn Italian as well, and last year for the first time I actually managed to be able to speak it. I can understand it quite well, so that's very helpful when you're overseas. So yes, we go to Italy as well. So the studio's here in Houston. Most of the artwork I create is here in Houston, on especially the larger ones, and then we go back to Australia for family and friends once a year, and to Italy once a year as well.
But they're extended stays, right?
They're extended stays. So Australia is usually 2 to 3 months around Christmas time, perhaps, although this year,
summer.
Yeah, because it's better weather. And Italy is just after the busy rush in August, so usually around September, but it can be other times. And Italy about a month.
About a month in Italy.
And fortunately, because we have houses there, I've sort of set up a little art studio bedroom in each of the places. That's what I've been doing over the last few years.
That's one of the questions I was going to ask you is do you work exclusively here? I mean, you said you use your iPad, but you'll do some of the fluid work.
Yep. So over the last few years, what I've been doing is, because part of it's trying to work out what products are available in these other countries, so that's sort of been a challenge. And interestingly, in Italy, for example, getting the resin and getting panels is difficult. They paint mostly on canvases, and resin used for boats and things like that. Because of COVID, actually, Amazon delivery got better, and some of the delivery around Italy got better, and we're in a small area. I can get resin now delivered by Amazon to my little farm place. So that's sort of helped. Our last visit last year, I actually was able to get some resin, and I found a canvas maker who would make panels for me for my artwork. So I have made a couple of big ones in Italy, but really it's more for fun and exploration. So what I really do on my trips, they're more about reflection and about experimenting with different things, but the real serious work I come back here and do it here. But I learn when I'm over there if I'm playing around.
So one of the issues, I guess, would be if you do work abroad, you bring it back to sell it?
No, and so only if it's small. So I have brought some smaller pieces about this big back in my luggage to sell out of here, and I haven't explored selling in either Australia or Italy. just because I've really focused on Houston and the larger scale works.
And you're not there long enough
And
to...
I'm right.
Well, I
yeah.
suppose you have contacts in certainly in Australia.
Yes,
So you're in
I
Melbourne?
do. Yeah, I'm in Melbourne, and I mean, I was born there and
You're
grew
not
up
out
there.
in the outback.
Right, right. I mean, and even Italy. Italy, what's really funny is, so Melbourne's now a big city and has a lot of art. I'm just not connected with people, because part of art is trying to find the people who like your art
Sure.
and who will buy it. So,
And building those relationships that...
and in Melbourne, I have many friends, but I don't have those particular connections for the type of art I'm creating now. So I would have to work at that and focus on it. And at the moment, when I go to Australia for the 1 month, 2 months, I want to see my friends and family.
Sure.
I go and see the art shows. They always have really good and leading art programs. So I will do all that, and I will play around and fiddle. I'll see what art products I can get. They're more expensive there, so that's the other issue there. But I have started creating some things for family just as a test, just to see, well, you know, I have just produced a really large one in Australia, but it's been over the course of a couple of visits. Mm-hmm. So I started at one visit and didn't finish it, and finished at this visit. So that's not practical to scale up, you know, for something serious. And transporting those huge panels or canvases, they're just too heavy.
It's cost prohibitive.
Yeah. And then you've got all the tax implications as well.
Exactly.
So that's why I still come back to, like, and it's complicated, you know. So there's I think for what I do, Houston and Texas is a big enough, you know, and the US is a big enough market, and I don't necessarily need to sell in the other places.
Do you find that, I guess one of the things that I noticed because we lived abroad for many years, and I would just switch off this life, and I would switch on that life,
right,
wherever we were, and I just really, it just becomes tucked away,
right,
in my psyche and my emotional. But that could really be detrimental to a business, right?
Right.
I mean, if I'm trying to build a business in Houston, let's say we get the place in Romania, I go to Romania for 2-3 months. Those 2-3 months, I'm not working the business in Houston.
Right.
I'm just like abandoning it.
And
how do you deal with things?
That's a concern, because last year, well, the last couple of years because of COVID, I've been here, and last year was a very productive year and a good year for sales for me. Now this year, there were some family circumstances which meant I had to go back to Australia, not at the normal time, and spent longer there. So I really haven't spent time here on my sales. And I really did shut down from Instagram on this particular trip. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't recommend it, because it does really slow your growth down.
People forget you.
People forget. Mm-hmm. And I didn't post a lot on Instagram. One of the things I have been working on personally, though, is teaching. So out of this studio, I have been doing pouring and alcohol ink on UPO paper classes. So what I did this trip when I was in Australia was I created an online teaching class for pouring.
Excellent.
That's just got uploaded to Skillshare. Mm-hmm. So it's the same classes I do here, but it's online. Because one of the things I feel bad about is my commitment to people who want to do the classes here in the studio. Well, what are they going to do when I'm away for 4 months or so? So I thought getting it online and being able to share it with them that way is one way. So that's just one aspect of my business that I've been exploring. So it's sort of like, so the teaching side of things is sort of fun. And that's a potential thing when I do go overseas, back to Australia, is potential I could do workshops. Mm-hmm. So that would be another way of sort of starting and starting to
build an audience
in that location. So that's one of my ideas. I'm not sure about Italy, because Italy we really do only stay 4 or 5 weeks, so I'm not sure what you can really do there. But Australia, we're there more often, so
long enough to make an impact.
Right. So
any advice? Any pitfalls you see? If someone was considering kind of bilocating like that?
Well, I mean, you have you know the language.
Yeah. Well, Bogdan does.
So I mean,
I speak enough Romanian to know when they're talking about.
Because I think it's really difficult if you don't speak the language, especially when you're trying to find, if you really do want to communicate with gallery owners or create products, like just trying to in Italy, not not all the people who are making things speak Italian, speak English. Yeah. So I think that's really important. And then if you were going to sell, you really need to understand, like I said, the tax implications of all of that, with US worldwide tax as well. I'm not
If you have
sure.
a permanent place, though, in Melbourne, you could actually leave inventory there.
Right.
Right. You could have the,
Right.
the
Yep.
Melbourne office.
Yep. Yeah, no, it would just, I guess it would just be another office. I just
Yeah.
don't know. I guess it would be worth it if I had the time to make enough work there. So it's having the time to make the work. And maybe if you're working on paper, you can transport it easier.
True.
So, I mean, that's the other thing. Some of the canvas, people who are working on canvas, you know, with normal brush, they take it off the frames, roll it up, and then you can transport it.
And just restretch it.
But yeah, as far as panels and things, I guess it would be to work on smaller pieces and series with smaller works.
And I'm just trying to think to me, the fear that I have also is that in different parts of the world, people value art differently. And my impression in Europe has been that people expect you to have a very, very developed education, worked in ateliers and really
Right.
have the credentials to
Yes.
be an artist.
Right.
And I don't have that.
Right.
You know, and not to mention I do abstract art, which
Yep.
they're going to say, where's your portrait work?
Right.
In oil.
Right. It's really interesting because so I don't. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I know all I know is that in Italy, one of my husband's family members just always said, "I love your art." Follows me on Instagram and says, "Love your art, love your art." And because she'd helped with some things for us as a surprise, I did one of my pieces for her. And it's like, and she was so excited because it's like, no one else has this. I've got this, this large abstractic thing, and it's got resin on it, and I love it. So it's like, who knows? Who knows? I think there's enough people that you're going to find your people there as well as here.
You know, one of the advantages that we haven't mentioned is when you are an expat, you have better access to things.
Right.
Because you're odd, you're different, you're
Exactly.
new,
Yep.
you're exotic.
Yep.
In a sense. Because I know that when I lived abroad, I had access to people and got invitations to things that I would never
No,
have
you're
gotten.
absolutely right. I mean, the first contact, US Embassy in Romania, and off you go.
Yeah.
Because like here, I've made contact in Houston with the Australian Embassy, and they're very helpful for my artwork in Houston. So,
And they buy art.
And they buy art. Yes, that's true. So
They want something from the places they've lived.
Yes.
That's what I've always done.
yes, yes, same here.
Yeah,
Same here.
It's a ready market,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
That's something.
Yeah, so I think that's probably right. It's the international, especially in Romania. So Romania is probably more like the Italian market, although I
yeah.
really don't, versus Australia, because in a lot of ways Australia's just like here. Like and Melbourne especially, it's a big city. It's got really established large art galleries and a large art market, which is just like Houston. So probably it's similar opportunities with it. Whereas Italy and Romania, it's different culture, different world.
Absolutely. And one of the things we thought was if we were to create anything in Romania, we would likely have to put it in a van and drive it to Germany or drive it to France. To
Right.
to
Everything's
sell
so
it.
close. But everything's so close.
But everything's so close. Living in Texas.
I don't even know. I know.
Everything's close.
Well, are there art fairs? See, I don't know much
There
about
are.
Europe.
In Romania, very few.
In Europe, yeah, but
Certainly around Europe.
right.
And again, you have that accessibility. It's just that it occurred to me that if I'm trying to build this business here, and I take big chunks of time away from it, then it could be.
I think it does dilute it
Yeah,
for sure.
it's
I mean, because
something you really have to consider.
yeah, and especially if you look at these studios here in the second Saturday's opening, one of the things I felt bad about was that, and it was running through my head, well, maybe I should have someone coming and opening on just the second Saturday at least for me while I'm not here.
That would be
because
easy
that
enough,
yeah.
yeah.
because that seems like one thing that you could do.
And traffic here is picking up again,
Right,
thank goodness.
right.
After a long haul with COVID.
Yeah, and I mean, there is, obviously you've got your website with all those details, which is global and online anyway, right? So
You so much online?
I've updated over, during, I guess the last 6 months I've updated, but as far as selling much, no.
Yeah, we
No.
don't either. And we put it all out there. We do lots of social media. We just don't get a lot of sales
No.
online. And I guess I hear people do.
Right.
I don't know any of them.
No. What I get online is people finding my art classes.
That is delightful.
So
Yeah.
fluid, for whatever reason, people here in Houston are interested in fluid art classes. So they do find me through that mechanism. I think with my art particularly, you need to see it in person. So that's part of the problem with having it on a website. Is it's okay and it looks all right, but even when people, actually I have had a number of queries through my website, quite a few queries, but they always need to come here to see the artwork. They wouldn't just press a button and buy it. It's quite an investment. So yeah. And then it's a matter of coordinating. So that's the other problem. If you're away somewhere and someone wants to see your artwork, well, how do you get them to see it? So you really do need a local contact, I think, who has access to your studio. What's next for me? Well, as I said, I've been exploring the teaching. I'm about to start work. So as far as creating work goes, I sort of work in spurts, and I've got different series and they are up on my website. So at the moment I have most of my larger work up on the website, and it's categorised by the different series I work. So I come back from a trip, I've just been to Australia, and I'm about to do I've got 3 square panels that are gum blossoms. So that's what I'm about to start work on.
Are you in any galleries?
No, I've been out there a little bit and tried that. It hasn't worked for me so far. Because it needs to be a gallery that matches your work.
Sure.
You know, I've done a few shows, I've worked with some galleries, I've explored it, but I really haven't found that right match yet. So I prefer to just sell directly to the customers here. It suits me.
I prefer that too, but it occurs to me that might be a bridge when you're abroad.
Right.
That you still
No,
got
that would
someone
be
peddling
excellent.
your work in Houston or wherever.
Yeah. No, that would be excellent. But it's just, I mean, I don't know. The problem is that there aren't a whole lot of galleries that, I mean, I have looked at a few, and, you know, I think all of us have tried different exhibitions at different places, but they have to be really committed and excited about your work and interested in it. So in my mind, that almost means, I know you can go out and find galleries, but it's like the gallery has to find you too.
That's what I've heard,
yeah. So, and I've tried, like I said, I've tried a couple of times, it hasn't. You know, they've been happy to have my work, but it can just sit somewhere and no one can see it.
True.
And the people seeing it have to be in the right price bracket for whatever you're selling. And otherwise, you're just giving your artwork to someone for free, you know. So, yeah, so I just keep on trying different things. The other thing I do is commissions of work of people who are interested but can't quite see what they like. So I've been working on that process and just changing it up a bit. A lot of people want me to go see their work in a house, in their home, and help design it. And I say, well, I'm not a designer, I'm an artist. So if I come, you know, send me photos of your house and come and pick some colour swatches, and I can work that out with you. But I am exploring going to someone's house. So I have a commission in that process. It's done that way, but they do understand I'm still an artist. Like, I'll come and help them work out the size with them, and we'll pick some colours, and but I'll still come back and create an artwork in a certain series style. So it's not like, you know, we can take a photo of something and I'm going to do exactly what they think.
Right.
So I am exploring the commission process and other ideas. I just sort of poke around and just see what comes back and bites, you know. Which fish takes the bite, I don't know. And in the meantime, I just love creating art in this studio. So that's enough for me.
That's what we do. Well, thanks so much for talking with us.
Yeah, lovely to talk to you again. Always enjoy it.
Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Look forward to seeing what comes next.
Okay, thanks, John.
Thanks, Jenny.
Okay, all, it was a lot to watch and a lot to follow up with us. we are never getting bored.
No,
basically.
thanks for sticking with us this long. Hope you have a great week, and we will follow up with the plans for Romania. We've got some things happening this week that we'll share with you in the next video. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.